Give us a moment before we come for today. Yes. Very good evening and a very warm welcome to today's webinar on integrating sustainability into the corporate DNA, what leaders must get right. On behalf of Delhi Technological University DTU and VC Now, I extend a very warm welcome to all of you joining us today. It is encouraging to see a varied and forward-thinking audience gathered for a conversation that is no longer optional, but absolutely essential for businesses today. The theme of today's webinar reflects a fundamental shift in how organizations operate, grow, and create value. Sustainability today has moved far beyond compliance. It has become a strategic imperative driven by expectations from regulators, investors, customers, and society at large. Organizations are now expected not just to deliver financial performance, but to demonstrate measurable environmental responsibility, strong governance, and meaningful social impact. Today's session is a glimpse into that larger vision where we will explore not just why sustainability matters, but how leaders can embed it into the very DNA of their organizations. Because the real question is no longer should we be sustainable, but rather how do we make sustainability a core part of every decision that we take? To help us navigate this very critical conversation, we are privileged to have with us three highly distinguished thought leaders whose experience spans academia, industry, and executive education. I would like to introduce you to the esteemed speakers for this evening's webinar. The first speaker that I would like to share a brief about is Professor Amit Mukherjee. He is professor and head at the University School of Management and Entrepreneurship, DTU. He brings in an extensive academic and leadership experience and has spent over 15 years at IIM Lucknow, where he has also served as a dean of the Noida campus and has held key roles across research, policy, and institutional leadership, including at NCAER. His expertise lies in strategy, analytics, and consumer research, with a strong focus on aligning business performance with long-term sustainability. Our next distinguished speaker is Professor Neeraj Sharma. I would request all of you to please keep your mic on mute, please, because we are getting some audio feedback from your end. Thank you. Professor Neeraj Sharma is a pioneer in technology-enabled executive education with over 3 decades of corporate experience across organizations such as Usha Martin, Tata Infotech, Hughes, NIIT, and Upgrad. He is also a PhD from IIT Delhi and a silver medalist from IIT Kharagpur. He brings in a unique blend of industry insight and academic perspective. His work focuses on leadership development, digital learning, and integrating evolving business practices with management education. Our third speaker for today evening is Professor Chaitanya G. Srivastav, who brings over 2 decades of experience across the clean tech, power, and infrastructure sectors, spanning both project execution and strategy consulting. His work includes project feasibility, asset valuation, and the development of large-scale infrastructure initiatives. With a strong focus on sustainability and energy transition, he offers a practical, real-world perspective on how ESG principles can be effectively embedded into business strategy and operations. With such an accomplished panel, I am confident that today's discussion will offer not just insights, but actionable direction for leaders who are serious about embedding sustainability into their individual organizations. So without further ado, let us begin this engaging session. Thank you once again for joining us. I do hope that you will be finding this webinar very insightful, inspiring, and impactful. We will have a Q&A session towards the end of the evening. Please keep your questions ready. You can write them in the chat box and also unmute yourself and ask your questions towards the end. Over to the esteemed.
So let Professor Mukherjee start from our end.
Over to you, Professor Mukherjee. The floor is yours.
Professor Mukherjee, are we audible to you? You can unmute. The mic seems to be muted. Professor Mukherjee, am I reaching you? Yeah.
Professor Mukherjee seems to be facing some difficulty in joining us. Should we
Yeah,
proceed?
let's go to Professor Chaitanya Srivastav. Sure.
Yes. So am I audible, sir?
Loud and clear. We are
Yeah.
looking forward to hear you.
Yes. So good evening, everyone. I'm really privileged to be speaking in front of you to connect with you over this very exciting and relevant topic today. Friends, I hope most of you are experienced professionals because our this program, its requirement is work experience of around 5 years minimum. So, you know how sustainability and AI are the buzzword nowadays. And though most of the sustainability talk is centered around compliance, but going forward, increasingly sustainability it is being felt that sustainability needs to be integrated with the strategy. Mere compliance is not going to serve the purpose. It is being felt at the management level. Now, how do we integrate sustainability in our at the strategic level? What do we do? Because compliance is very easy. You know that in India there is SEBI's BRSR, so you know that there is a prescribed format and you need to fill in. Though that is not also very easy, and any compliance you do, then there is auditing requirement that you need to get it audited. Uh, so that is also to be done. So most of the time, professionals who are overseeing this compliance, whether they are from legal or they are from CFO office, so at the end of the financial year, when you are going to publish your results and annual report, you are tasked with this additional burden, if I can say that, you have to present this compliance report and embed it with your annual report. And at that point of time, you realize that you need so much of data and there is no single place from where you can order this data. If you need any plant level data, you know that you will call general manager plant, and from there you will get every data related to plant. But this sustainability related compliance, it is all fragmented. It is all spread across the organization. And that brings us to the topic that what do we do so that sustainability does not merely remain a buzzword, but it becomes a strategic tool. Because if you are going to be leaders tomorrow, and leaders tomorrow of leading corporations, whether it is a public sector, private sector, any organization, whether it is an educational institute or non-governmental organization, if you want to be a leader of a leading organization, you have to embed sustainability in your strategy. Now, when we talk about corporate DNA, what is corporate DNA? If you talk about any organization, first is strategy and then strategy execution. And how is the strategy executed? Strategy is executed by business processes and it is executed by people. And how do people interact? How do people act? They act in a matrix which is called culture. So, and how do we measure that whatever we are doing, our intentions are very good, we are very hardworking, we are sincere, but whatever we are doing, is it bringing the right results? Not only financial, but all the parameters. Because as we know, ESG is not merely about finance. It is about measuring the environmental impact, measuring the social impact, and governance impact. So measuring comprehensively whatever you intend to do and are doing at ground, what kind of results these are bearing. So measurement of that. So designing strategy, strategic planning, then strategy execution, which means embedding all that planning into your business processes, operating model, then translating that into your performance management system, because people work on incentives, and also creating a culture where sustainability is part of the culture, and then through KPIs, relevant KPIs, measuring that both the performance of your people as well as performance of the organization. Now when we work on all these parameters, then slowly you will see that sustainability will become part of your day to day working. So this is what this program is all about. As uh, the ma'am said in the beginning, that sustainability going forward is not going to be merely about compliance, though we are seeing, we are all aware of the current geopolitics, and that might give an indication that okay, it is all about oil, or it is all about military technology, and all that. But believe me, whatever is the geopolitics, sustainability is here to stay. We know climate change is for real. We are feeling it now. We don't need to get into all that technical discussion that what is true. The temperature of the globe is going by whatever 1.5 degrees centigrade, 2 degrees centigrade. We know through our daily experience that climate change is real. So sustainability has to integrate with strategy. So what do we do then? When we discuss that why sustainability is important, then we discuss that sustainability, if it doesn't have to be merely about compliance, but it needs to be integrated in the strategy, then it needs to be part of my strategic planning. It needs to be part of my operating model, process design, uh, part of my culture. I need to design relevant KPIs, collect data, measure it, and also make it a part of the performance management system of my executives. So, sorry. Yeah. So we also need to then think about how sustainability is going to help in our risk management, because today, in today's world, supply chain robustness, people are talking about resilience is the new buzzword that you might be hearing, and you will continuously you will hear about it. So resilience, what does it mean? Resilience means, if you all have read science, that if you get a shock, you have enough flexibility, you have uh, enough reserve, that you can bear that shock and come out strongly. So we need to build certain redundancy, and we need to think about, because today it's all about supply chain. We are when you do even compliance reporting, and you do GHG accounting, scope 1, scope 2, scope 3. So scope 1, scope 2 is relatively easy, but when you go to scope 3, you feel a lot of difficulty. Apart from that, that supply chain is how much it is crucial for your business. So how to manage your supply chain risk, how to do risk management, that there also you will see that if you integrate sustainability into your thinking, into your the strategic paradigm, you will see that you will be building robustness in your supply chain risk management, and also even your financial risk management. Now I will give I'll pass over the session to Professor Mukherjee, and going forward then we will discuss that to do all that we need finance. So, how to access finance, what are the different financing options to be able to do all that, what I've been talking about. So, over to Professor Neeraj and Professor Mukherjee.
Professor Mukherjee, am I reaching you?
Yes, I'm very much there. I think my camera has been switched off by the host, but never mind. Uh,
So let me just check.
sure. I think I'm very much there now. Just so that we can connect more easily. A lot has been said and done about sustainability, and I think Professor Neeraj and Professor Chaitanya have outlined the various ways in which it can be actually made a part of the corporate processes. But I'd like to share a few examples and the need for understanding the need for embracing sustainability itself that the corporates are undergoing. And the current events in the Gulf are just one instance. There are crises throughout the world at every point where we are changing. Let me start by pointing out Paul Polson, the famed chairperson of the of the Unilever Group globally. And decades back, he had made changes even in something as remote as finance, saying climate financing is one thing, but sustainability finance, which looks at the social part along with the sustainability of the environment, are critical for a company. And making it part of the DNA, let me start from the top. We looked at investing, and short term investors were not such a major focus as long term investors who actually saw the benefits of social development that can be performed by organizations. I go back to an old logic just to set the context for the entire program and why every company has to embrace it and bring it into their DNA. Corporations as large as the Unilevers of the world, and there are hundreds of such organizations, probably are large enough in terms of their economic turnover to mirror countries. And they said, if we do not have the resources to help countries develop, we are actually stopping short of developing our own markets. And for Unilever, this was as simple as focusing on water, and saying that from the African continent to Asia to other parts of the world, wherever water is a challenge, the company has the resources to not only clean water, but to provide the mechanism available at the household level to provide clean drinking water. And we have seen the results in a product in India. And investors who were not very happy with such developmental work were, well, uh, asked to take it or leave it, in a sense. And long term investors were brought in. Now, this translated into projects where people at the product management level actually had to think up projects for the next 3 years, which would actually make the world a better place to live in terms of that particular product and the needs that it satisfied, and have a social angle to it, a cost angle to it, and the cost of ESG was actually worked out in specific instances. Now, there are many such examples where this has been happening, and why this needs to happen is something that I'll focus on in very short. I belong to a generation where the question was asked by a large number of corporations in India: shall we computerize? It's as simple as that and as deep as that. Shall we join the internet? Shall we take our business online? Those are questions which not a single company seems to be asking now, but going back 30 years, they did. I take you back another 15 years, and the projections that by 30 to 35, our energy scenario would have probably tipped to the renewables part. We can see that coming. It is a possibility, maybe a bit slower, but that's one test case. A very large number of companies have tipped over. So I'm focusing on the need to incorporate sustainability into every aspect, right from product development and delivery to the logistics of making that product available, right from manufacturing to forward distribution to the entire logistics. And I would rest my case on one point. You would all agree, I believe, that AI is coming. And as it comes, already the concerns over its energy consumption are rising. There are also social concerns. I believe that not just policymakers, but corporates are also perhaps sharply divided now, but will probably develop a very cogent, coherent line which allows them to survive in a society which is very, very aware of what AI can and is doing. Now, in terms of the corporates that you and I would probably engage with, these corporates would definitely be aware of the markets which actually are being shaped by AI and concerns like these. And if it's actually affecting how AI is adopted, it will affect how everything else will be adopted. New products, new practices in finance, new practices in logistics, new practices will all be far more easily manageable, more efficiently manageable with the AI, phenomena that we are seeing. And probably sustainability in not just the environmental aspect, where a huge cost of change in technologies is foreseen, but will have to be climbed, just like corporates climbed the internet ladder and now everyone is online. Everyone has an ERP, everyone has adopted quality practices. All were seen as major economic challenges. How do companies actually embrace such transformations? The cost part of it is no longer an issue. Research for the last 15 years has also shown that those investing in ESG have stronger financial performance. And I think that is where I would rest my case. Transformation is about to happen. The way it needs to happen is what we are really going to discuss in this course. I'll take up any questions, obviously, with our resident experts.
Yes. So, thank you, Professor Mukherjee. Professor Neeraj, you want to say something, or should I continue?
No, I think I just want to add a few points over here. One is it's inevitable because what we got when I started my career 30 years ago, it was not such a big problem, but today it has become a problem which needs to be addressed. If you ask me, perhaps we are late by 5, 10 years, but nonetheless we are there. And second is, it's as you said, Professor Mukherjee said, one is the push from the company itself. But even the customers are demanding that we should be compliant in many ways, otherwise, you may not get a chance to export and import, and therefore the pressure is very high to increase the business. And the third thing that we must understand, that's the purpose of these long duration programs, because unless and until we understand what is the need and why there is the need, we will not be able to create our own strategies, because you know your problems, the company knows their problems, and company also know what kind of solutions are possible, and within that framework we have to put the strategy into place of sustainability. Therefore, it's not a vertical. It's a strategic tool which will fit into all horizontals of the business, be it human resource, be it product, be it marketing, be it finance. So, therefore, we have to have a very comprehensive view of the sustainability. And as Professor Chaitanya Ji Srivastava and Professor Amit Mukherjee stated, it has to be the part of the strategy of the company, therefore, has to amalgamate with the corporate strategy of the company to get the maximum benefit out of it. And my personal belief is, unless these things are in place, the growth is going to be restricted. Over to Professor Chaitanya.
Yes, sir. Rightly said. Friends, I want to share a few more points. You might have heard a term greenwashing. Now, greenwashing is that, you are making tall claims, but when there is a detailed audit, whether you do internal audit or it is done by third party auditors, when there is a detailed audit, then we find that, it's the tall claims were mostly PR, and it is not actually happening at ground. Maybe the management has good intention, but still, because of whatever companies listed and due to short-term stock market concerns or whatever, it is not being translated on ground. So that's a big risk, greenwashing. And here I would like to give you some recent examples. If you are following the news, then in Chhattisgarh there is Ethena power plant, thermal power plant. I think it is 2 into 600 megawatt. And last week there was a major accident, and more than 20 people died there. And still in the technical circles, discussions are going on. Initial cause effect, root cause analysis is out. Now the consequence of that is, of course, loss. When such incidents happen, first of all, it gives a very bad name to the company. No, sorry, that is second case. The first thing, loss of life, loss of precious human life. That is the biggest casualty. Second is loss to the operations of the company. Now you don't know, maybe regulator might shut the company. Third is that there is now a criminal case registered against the chairman of the company. So generally, when we are talking about certain processes, safety, sustainability, these things are not immediately visible when you are selling a product or selling a service. So something which is very visible, there, leaders or executives can see that, okay, this is what is bringing me revenue. But something which is at the back end, its impact is only seen during the times of crisis, and it has very, very high cost. So sustainability is also like that. It, as I was talking earlier, that it gives you resilience, and resilience gets tested during the times of crisis. And whether it is an individual or whether it is an organization, during its life cycle, definitely there comes moments of crisis where that resilience is tested. So because of these things, because you know uh, as the leading intellectual professor uh, Nasim Taleb says that he has written a book. I'm not remembering that how to uh, uh, how to bring that resilience into your DNA, so that if such catastrophic events happen, instead of getting bogged down by it, you rather profit from it. So it is that kind of strategic imperative, sustainability. So that is why greenwashing might look very tempting in the short term, but in the long run it doesn't benefit. It might rather backfire, because the world is definitely globalized now. Again, whatever the geopolitics of the current times, the world is globalized. Every country is dependent on import and export. You know that India has signed now. You will see many foreign trade agreements and country to country agreements being signed. So companies do not have to only satisfy the compliance requirements of your domestic market. You also have to comply with the European market or whatever in other export market. So their compliance requirements might not be as easy to satisfy as in your domestic market, because maybe you have certain relations and you are able to manage it. So for this reason also, it becomes imperative that sustainability does not merely remain a compliance initiative to be completed by the end of the financial year. Now, one more point I would like to discuss is the finance. I was talking about earlier that so many things, but companies don't have unlimited finance. Maybe, as Professor Mukherjee said, that large companies like HUL, they can afford to take such initiatives and, of course, long-term initiatives, because these are by default long-term initiatives. So you also need finance, which is long-term. So, increasingly, investors are also becoming aware of it, and companies uh, which are genuinely thinking about sustainability. So, I think investors are ready to provide that kind of finance. And there is institutional finance also. There are green bonds are there in the market. Though in India, corporate bond market is not that developed. Also, blended finance is there, that multilateral institutions, they support, so that overall project risk gets less. So there are various financing initiatives available, uh, and that can be explored. So that about that also we will be discussing as part of this program. So over to you, professors.
So I wanted to add, Professor Chaitanya, so that House is informed, the Chief Executive Officer of Hindustan Unilever Foundation, Dr. Shraman Jha, uh, he is very close to us, and he'll also be participating in the program as a faculty. So the point that you made, when did they start their journey? And the only work the Hindustan Unilever Foundation does is groundwater, and they've been doing it for a very long time. Dr. Jha will come and discuss about the balance sheet, the kind of experiences Hindustan Unilever Foundation has got, so that the program becomes a 360-degree content providing. So that I thought is important, because Professor Mukherjee mentioned about Hindustan Unilever Foundation. You also mentioned about from the context of finance, and they have been doing this for quite some years. Dr. Jha has been there for, I think, more than 3-4 years as a CEO. And those who finally decide to join the program will have an opportunity to hear the real work, the real finance, the real challenges, and the real achievements by Hindustan Unilever Foundation. I repeat the name, his Dr. Shraman Jha. Just I wanted to add. Professor Mukherjee, you want to add something? Because we are left with.
I'm so happy to hear that he's joining, because it's not just the journey that this one company has done. A pioneer is always required to show the way. But I'd like to share something with the audience. When the quality movement started, and the total quality movement started in 1950s, 60s, 70s, started taking real shape and roots in India. The challenge was, how do you change every single process, every single activity that a company undertakes, every single purchase that a company makes, every single hire that a company does in terms of quality of people? How do you enhance the quality of people in HR? How do you ensure that every single process is free from fault? And where the whole Six Sigma movement took place in India. And I think most corporates in India, most participants here would be so familiar with something like Six Sigma. What Professor Chaitanya mentioned about the unfortunate incident in the boiler in Vedanta uh, is a case in point. Sustainability needs to address every single activity that a company performs. It is now an expectation not just by the policymakers, but also by its financiers. A lot of them are transforming into clean and green financiers, because they know that only those companies will be sustainable who actually address both social and environmental concerns. Can the transformation happen? Can it be financed? Yes, it can. And the methods are very similar to the quality transformation. the digital transformation. The sustainability transformation may be a bit slower, but perhaps it will be even more larger than the transformations that I've just mentioned. And the way to do it is enshrined in various management transformation practices and nitty gritty details in finance, in marketing, in operations, in logistics, and other areas. And that is something which every company will need in the next decade or so. I may sound like a sustainability evangelist. I am only a believer. I'm sure there are great experts out there who would be able to interact and shed more light. But I would like to leave all of the participants of this little interaction with the point that sustainability is happening, will happen. The tools are there. The people who embrace it will probably be closer to leading the companies they have through the transformation that is bound to happen. I would leave off on that and maybe take up questions later.
Yeah, so I'm also ready to take questions because I think participants might have some questions.
I did see a hand going up or something. So,
Shreyasi, will you manage the queue, or you have some other suggestions before we take up the questions?
Yes, my suggestion would be we want to share some salient features of the program.
Sure,
So if
sure,
we can do that first, Shivani
sure.
would be sharing the details. Post that, we can utilize the time for Q&A sessions in the chat box, as well as we can ask the participants to unmute themselves. That can
Sounds
be.
good.
Over to Shivani.
Sure. So just allow me a minute. I will just share my screen and will help the participants to navigate through the program details. Post that, we'll open the forum for Q&A. So I hope my screen is visible.
It is.
It is visible.
Thank you so much for confirming, sir. So once again, a warm welcome to all the participants and this program. After hearing the insightful information shared by Professor Amit Mukherjee, Professor Chaitanyaji Srivastav, and Professor Neeraj Sharma, I would like you all to understand the program context, the content, and certain few pointers which will be helpful. So we are here to discuss about a leadership program in CSR, ESG, and corporate sustainability. This is the first batch in the executive education domain for the program, wherein Delhi Technological University brings this program through the online mode so that the maximum of the working professionals can get benefited from the same. The program duration for this is 6 months, and the eligibility says whether you are a graduate or a diploma holder in 10 plus 2 plus 3, the way, and it has to be from a recognized university or an institution, your diploma or graduation. And we also are looking at people having minimum 5 years of work experience, right? So this is a leadership program, so we are looking at minimum of this much work experience. The program is delivered through D2D mode. So it's live online session for 3 hours. And the program also covers one campus module where you get an opportunity to visit Delhi Technological University in person for a period of 3 days. And this campus immersion is going to happen almost at the initial stages of the program. The dates shall be announced later once the program starts and the cohort joins the batch. The sessions are scheduled comfortably on Sundays because our esteemed faculty, they also are a part of industry. They also have, multiple engagements. So they are kind enough to take out their time on Sundays and interact with the cohort. The timings would be 10 to 1. And this is beneficial for the participants as well because taking out time on Sundays to upskill yourself, I think, is like a boon to all of us without disturbing your everyday work schedule. What you get after the completion of the program is a certificate. I will be sharing with you a sample of the same in the coming up slides. Adding another feather to your cap with the certificate of completion, what you get is the esteemed digital education alumni status of Delhi Technological University, an institute which is of eminence, and it is an 83-year-old institute, right? So prior to even IIT Delhi was established. So you get a proud privilege to be a part of a digital education alumni group, which helps you, of course, to continue with your learning process and also helps you to establish a good networking with the professionals. The program fees is very nominal for this entire course. It's 1,60,000 plus GST, which has to be paid in 3 installments. This is the certificate which you get on the completion of the program. I just thought of sharing this with all of you so that you know what are the deliverables that you get other than of course, the information, the content for which you are joining the program. So this is kind of a proof that you are a part of Delhi Technological University learning cohort. Esteemed faculty for the program, this is just to give you a sneak peek into the same. Of course, you can Google them, you can find out their profiles. They are people of eminent profile and reputation in terms of academics, right? They are highly esteemed academician, whether you talk about Dr. Mandeep Kaur, talk about Dr. Anurag Chaturvedi, Dr. Agya Tripathi, Ms. Nisha Dhingra, Professor Dr. Rajiv Arora, Dr. Ritika Chopra, Dr. Samit Gambhir, Mr. Shivam Sharma, Professor Surinder Sour, and Dr. Varsha Sehgal, other than the program directors and the faculty that we have on our call today. This is the broad description of the module. Each module is also having a lot of subdivisions. So, having the paucity of time, I am not just going into the details of the subtopics, but these are the broad modules that are covered in the program, talking about the foundations of CSR, ESG, and responsible business leadership. We will be touch basing upon legal, regulatory, and global ESG framework, strategic CSR design, stakeholder engagement and social impact, ESG metrics, reporting and digital innovation, climate change, resource management, and sustainable finance, global ESG leadership, collaboration, and there is going to be a capstone project towards the end of the program, right? So this is in a nutshell about the program modules. We will also be sharing the brochure of the program with all of you after this call so that you can see the subtopics in much, much detail. Very important dates. So all of you who are willing to join the batch and understand the details about the program, the last date of this cohort application cycle to close is 30th of April. So you have a couple of days in hand. Kindly go ahead and complete the application at the earliest. Program commencement is May 2026. The date shall be notified shortly to the participants who are going to join the cohort.
Shivani, can I ask? I have two questions.
Yes, who's this?
Hi, Shivani. I'm Bhuvnesh this side. I
Right,
just
Mr.
had two
Bhuvnesh,
questions.
just 2 minutes. Let me just complete this and we'll
Sure,
open the
sure.
forum
No
for Q&A.
worries.
Just 2 minutes.
Okay,
Thank you
okay,
so
thank you.
much. Thank you so much. So this is for the benefit of all of you. In case you want to reach out to us, this is my email ID that you will see on the screen. And these are the two direct numbers. So you can reach out to us at VC Now and find out more details about the program. We will be happy to assist you and help you know more details about the program and how is this program going to help you and benefit you. So that is it from my side. Over to you, Shreshi, so that we can open the forum for Q&A. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shivani. Yes, so we have one question that has reached us in the chat box. I would just repeat this. This question has been asked by Mr. Piyush Sachdeva. He asks, how is this different from the Executive Program in Corporate Sustainability, EPCS?
Okay. I'll allow me to take it up. So what happened was when the sustainability became one of the buzzwords in the industry, the demand for such programs increased, and different universities approached the subject in a different way. And these programs were available in front of us when we wanted to design a program. Therefore, we had a discussion internally between Professor Chaitanya, Professor Mukherjee, and many other faculty members. We felt many of the programs, and all are right. I'm not saying not passing any value judgment. I'm saying since you asked why this is different, we focused on three things: ESG, we focused on CSR, and we focused on corporate sustainability. And the biggest part was we finally decided that let's build on what is already available in the marketplace. Therefore, as Professor Chaitanya Srivastava in the beginning said, we are not only stopping at the uh, uh, compliance part of it, but trying to make it how this can become a part of strategy at the corporate level, at the functional level, and therefore this becomes more comprehensive. But let me also tell you, it puts a huge responsibility on those who are joining the program because they will have to be with us in the pace and also in the coverage. So that's why we are different from both the sides. How we are different and how do we expect you to be different?
Thank you, Professor Sharma. I move on to Bhuvanesh, who wanted to ask a question. Bhuvanesh, you
Yeah,
can unmute
yeah,
yourself.
I'm here. Thank you. I had two questions. One was similar to what Piyush had asked. Reason being that I before getting to know about Delhi Technology University course, this one, I was looking at the course being done by IICA, Indian Institute of Corporate Affairs, which is part of Ministry of Corporate Affairs. So I thought that it'll be an authentic one. It'll be certified and recognized. So I saw that course that was quite elaborative, talking about ESG and sustainability from theoretical point of view and practical point of view. But as Sir has said, I am assuming that this course, as Sir has said, it is a mix of whatever is there in the market and taking the best out of it.
I'd like a quick response. This is more about management, not about policy, not about, as Dr. Neeraj said, compliance. So this is about the transformation that the whole economy will go through, but it's about how an individual can help a company transform across all of its areas of management. That is the focus. So if you look at the content, you'll find differences there. If you look at the expertise, we have people from the compliance world, we have people from the management world, we have people from the theoretical side, because a lot of research is actually helping companies transform, not just technological research, but even research in managing finances. So it's a much broader array that we thought we would put
Yeah.
together, and which is where DTU, with its background in technology and management and entrepreneurship, actually make a difference.
So one last thing I just want to ask was that I have understood the basics of sustainability, and basis that what I understood is that this course can this area of expertise can be part of the overall business strategy. We have business strategy as a specialization and all that. So sustainability can become the the next big word for big buzz for being the wholesome strategy instead of having different strategies. If you follow sustainability, everything encompasses it. So you think that this is going to be the future in terms of being the one being the one thing to solve all kinds of problem from a long term perspective?
Yeah. So
Actually,
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please. Yes, Professor Mukherjee,
I
you were going to answer.
just have a quick response before you share your expertise with the corporate. No, I just had a quick response before you take up what the corporates do. I was saying that there's a lot being done already in the last couple of decades in technology, in supply chains, in manufacturing, in marketing. Where do you bring it all together? That is when the transformation happens. And somebody, the idea of this course was helping somebody understand all its various facets, bring it together, And that's why we are focusing on the mid level, taking the company forward. Over to you, Mr. Jathan.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
so
wanted to add,
very
Professor Chaitanya, about the question that was asked. You know what Dr. Harivansh Rai Bachchan said, and that fits into your question and the answer from my side. He says, मदिरा ले जाने को घर से चलता है वो पीने वाला, किस पथ से मैं जाऊं है असमंजस में वो भोला भाला, अलग अलग पथ बतलाते सब पर मैं ये पथ बतलाता हूँ, राह पकड़ तू एक चला चल तू पा जाएगा मधुशाला. So as you rightly said, if you pick up the theme of sustainability and weave into all the functions of management, you will be there.
Yeah, so again, two experts have already answered this question, but I'm also taking it up because I think most of the people would have this question. See, friends, there is no college or no certification can give you this assurance that after completing that you will be appointed, CEO or head of this organization in this much time. It's always a personal journey. Also, I would like to add that sustainability, like strategy, it is a long term thing. So you have to have a long term perspective. After completing this course, or nowadays after some time you will have full fledged MBA program in sustainability. After doing that, yeah, you will get a job depending on the market requirement, your own work experience and all that. But to be able to make a long term career, you have to have a long term thinking. I'll give you an example. I give you just an example of accident. There was another example where there was a thousand more than 1,000 crore project was being installed, and because the promoter was not from the technical side, so promoter did not know these are big projects, so cost is very much important. Around 70 to 80% is taken as loan, so project needs to be completed in time, otherwise more than 100 crore is yearly interest cost. So the promoter wanted to minimize the cost, and the top management who had experience in the field, they the technology supplier from was from abroad, and he said that, okay, the part X cannot be taken away because it is important. And that becomes important in during the times of crisis. But they said, no, we'll manage, we are experienced people, we have earlier run the plant. If you remove this part, our cost will reduce, and that is the paramount concern for us. And what happened, within a year, so I don't want to get into technicality. There was some DC part was done away with, and there was AC failure, and then because of DC part was missing, the turbine got damaged, and later on the plant was shut for, I think, around 3-4 months. The turbine was taken to abroad, and a lot of cost was incurred. So why I'm sharing this example? Sometimes short term, it looks very tempting to bypass certain important long term health measures, but it has catastrophic implications. So if you do such kind of certifications, whether from DTU or anywhere else, you will develop an understanding about how sustainability is woven across the functions. And if you need to bring transformation, what you need to do, you will have that 360-degree vision, and you will develop a kind of wisdom. So strategy cannot be implemented without that kind of wisdom which Professor Mukherjee and Professor Neeraj are talking about. So that's what you will develop, that understanding, that feel, and which over a course of your work experience you will keep on building that. So that will give you a strategic edge and make you a leader in times to come. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bhuvnesh, you've gone on mute. We could not hear you completely. Right. I would encourage the other participants to also raise their hand and unmute themselves so that they can ask their questions. The faculty members are here for a couple of more minutes. This is your chance to get your questions answered by our esteemed faculty members.
Shresi, there is a suggestion from Dr. P. Chandrasekhar. I have gone through it, and in case the
Yes.
company wants to nominate people, we'll be more than happy to look at their profile. And if there is some gaps over there, we can look and internally discuss. So we are absolutely open because our purpose is to help people understand these concepts and do well in life.
To Dr. P. Chandrasekhar, you can please reach out to us and of course we can take it ahead. Sushant Jha has raised his hand. Sushant, you can please unmute yourself and ask your question. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Amit sir, Chaitanya sir, and Neeraj sir. And thanks to DTU for giving us this opportunity to understand the sustainability goals and the ESG, which is required for any company to grow and to sustain for a longer duration, and what are the implications and how it should be implemented and how it should be taken further for the reaching the utmost goal, which is the client satisfaction by generating revenue. Sir, I'm a startup and I'm really crunched with money. The startup is there in the industry for the I'm in the hospitality industry, and I'm in this industry for the past 8 years now, and I'm totally bootstrapped. But now the thing is that I'm QCI member. I'm the member of ISO. I've a lot of certifications I've done, but the current situation I'm facing is the financial aid, which is the first and the foremost required for the company to grow. And I am looking at that kind of circumstances that when we can get the funding and we can support ourselves in a better way so that we can take our organization to a global level. So what do you have to say in that? Thank you.
So, what I could understand, sir, that you have a lot of understanding in this field and relevant certifications, uh, uh, and you wanted to know how you can access funding. So, sir,
Yes.
yeah. So, what I mean, I would suggest that this program gives you an overview of ESG finance. What are the different financing techniques available, and how to measure financial performance of your initiatives? ROI, how to measure ROI. As far as startup raising, startup financer, I think that's a different field. There, you have to approach angel investors and VCs and discuss your business model, because in this program, ESG finance is one of the modules, and that gives you both what are the financing tools available, and how to measure the performance. I mean, ROI. Do carry out financial measurement of your ESG projects or ESG initiatives. So,
Another thing I wanted to add here is, though startup finance is not the scope of this program, but one of the advantages you get in executive education, because the batch will have all kinds of people, all kinds of expertise. So, in addition to the inputs that you will get from such wonderful professors like Professor Amit Mukherjee, Professor Chaitanya G. Srivastav, if you discuss with your peer group, maybe some ideas come from there too. So, the advantage of executive education is not only the input from the faculty side, but also the input from the peer side and the way they solve the problems. And therefore, imagine, suppose even if we have 50 people in the batch, so it could be larger, 50 people with 5 years of experience minimum. Some of them have 10 and 15. That also generates a lot of ideas. I just wanted to add my perspective to it.
It's an interesting thought. I have a reverse question. Are you a sustainable hospitality enterprise, Mr. Jha?
Sir, to answer this question, yes, I feel so. I'm sustainable to this marketing, the efforts which have been taken by me during this course of time where the COVID has hit the market and tourism is totally sluggish, the way the
It's a
world is
big,
behaving.
big area of opportunity and
It's a big
networking.
area of opportunity.
And then, in that case, networking, as Dr. Neeraj pointed out,
Yes, sir.
is
Yes.
essential. because
Yes,
that's where we are.
I know that. If I could get free, I'm financially crunched.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Hello, hi,
Yeah. Hi.
Hi, please.
Simran here. I just want to understand, like you mentioned about the COVID. So how could like climate change and sustainable finance can be maintained together? Like this is something which I always have it in mind because like I'm into BNBs. Okay, so I do that. So it gives a very drastic ups and downs in the when there's some changes all over the world or something like that. It happens. So it is a problem where I face a lot.
Yeah, ma'am. So, what's your question again? Like,
I just want to understand. So when there is climate change, I would say
yeah,
when there
yeah.
is changes going on here and there, how to maintain the sustainable finances. That is something, the finances is where I always, I keep some finance for myself. And then, there's some crisis like the COVID that was mentioned. So
Yeah.
some crisis come and then, you just lose out everything. How to maintain that? Do you have any particular pointers to give to that?
Yes, ma'am. So, yeah, so we talked about resilience, So, if you take individual, at individual level, at a family level, we always do this kind of safety planning that, in case there is some catastrophe, we lose our job, or, something untoward happens. So, in that case, we are able to manage for some time. So even at organization level also, to build resilience, that if there is a shock, there are some shocks which are moderate, there are some shocks which are very, very severe. COVID was such a shock. So now your question is very relevant, that it depends what kind of organization you are. If I am a daily wage earner, so there is very I mean, to a certain extent, I can save myself. I do not have so much money that I can have a large pool of saving. So I will be severely affected. That is true. In COVID time or in such kind of severe shocks, medium and small scale enterprises, MSMEs, quite a few of MSMEs get shut. They get closed, and that is where policymakers have to design safety nets and programs so that these vulnerable sections get protected. However, at a organization level, we will definitely discuss, as we talked about, risk management. So risk management is something which builds resilience, which so that we can mitigate the various risks. So we will talk about all kind of risk. We'll talk about, first of all, as I talked about, greenwashing. So brand, how to manage our uh, brand image. Then supply chain risk. Then financing risk. So when we understand about all this concept, what are the tools available, and how to do risk planning, how to do risk management, what are the different risk mitigation measures. So our risk matrix, all that. So these tools you will know about during the part of the program.
Risk mitigation and market risk and non-market risks, financial risk, even climate risk is becoming a more and more evolved area of study, and a lot of learning is there from what large organizations are doing. And I guess that's something which one could learn formally through the module in the program.
Yes, we would encourage the others also to come up with your questions. We have just a couple of minutes left. We have already overshot the time.
Hi. Yeah.
Webinar.
Hi, this is Himali. Is it audible?
Yes, please go ahead, Imali. We can hear you.
Yeah. Thank you. So, most important question, while I had a chance to talk to Neeraj sir in detail, and I'm glad that I could get a understanding of this program prior to this session. And when I'm hearing out from Amit Mukherjee sir, and for sure from Mr. Chatterjee, Chaitanya. So, my two questions once again. which I had a chat with Neeraj. So I would like to understand the value of this sustainability course in the age of the AI, where extensive knowledge and insights are already easily accessible. And how does this program go beyond when AI can provide, especially in terms of practical experience and especially decision making, real world applications. Also, while it's often said that experience cannot be replaced by AI, I would appreciate your view on how this course deliver something truly distinct. That's one part of it, and certainly when I get the answer, I have another question in addition to that. Once I would love to hear from Amit Mukherjee, sir.
Okay, I'll definitely have a point of view on that, Himali. You hit the nail on the head. AI can create answers based on the queries you have, and
Yeah,
there are two parts to it. Your questions, your probes, your prompts need to be very well informed to get you proper results.
absolutely, absolutely.
Without a basic understanding of the territory you're walking in, it's like Google Maps without the satellite. You know what happens.
Hmm.
The second part
Hmm.
of it is AI is able to answer questions fairly well far and will probably get much, much better basis the data that it has.
Mm-hmm.
And there's humongous amounts of data on individual parts of, let's say, climate risk or, technology developments on innovation. They're spread, they're scattered.
Mm-hmm.
And therein lies the risk of using a tool like AI. It is a tool. It is not a replacement for strategy.
Absolutely, that's what
The
I
two
said. So,
dangers. And
mm,
if I may take the two parts together, in the next
mm-hmm.
15 years, the
Mm-hmm.
corporates who transform will lead the next century. I'm putting my neck on the line. It's happened earlier. Those who embraced, the information technologies in the 1970s, 50 years later, they are leading, most of them.
Mm.
The,
While
that's where I'm
I
coming,
know.
in terms of a 50-year lead. It'll get even more, entrenched leadership because of the social part. Believe it or not, societies will also gain a lot from AI. We are becoming more aware. The awareness is spreading. The digital divide is decreasing, will decrease greatly in the next 50 years. Politically, that's a narrative that is being handled worldwide. So with very aware customers, unless you are socially well ahead, seen to be responsible members of society who are doing some good, corporates will get left on the wayside.
So that's where, see, one point is like, about AI. I really thank you for, I'm in sync with your thoughts. And that's why when I look ahead into this, probably, I agree with you that the background, the basics are the key to success. Another, when I look at this particular
Let
program,
me then point out, if you're in sync, and I pose the question to everyone. It's something that I started doing. If you can,
sure, sure.
permit me. So in the next 15 years, leadership would require a transformation which perhaps cannot be led just by AI-driven strategy because AI still won't have the knowledge. And that's going to happen increasingly. And that is where the sharp divide between AI-driven versus human innovation-driven access. Unless machines learn to think on their own and innovate, which I don't see in the next 15, 20 years. Human who can, as you said, write the prompts at least. Sorry, next question.
So while I just, I heard this point, kind of, I want to say some note onto that. So with due respect, I understand. I mean, basically, when you say that the prompts and everything is dependent back onto the human knowledge. So now that point which I'm just trying to understand is particularly this program, how it will be going beyond, to build up that particular practical experience back into this, be it the long-term judgment, real world decision making ones. So I mean, how we would be able to just do that one? I
I
think
think Professor Chaitanya is a live example of what we bring into the program. But if you take a quick look at the roster of faculty who are engaged, you'll see an even split. Practitioners
Mhm.
from the corporate world, from the regulatory world, people who are writing policy for the government, people who are helping companies follow policy for the government. You'll see people from the PSUs, from the private sector. You'll see an whole array. The idea is to build a package. As we ideate over the program, we focused on how transformation happens and the fact that it's driven by people at the mid level,
Mhm.
envisioned by maybe top management, but without the next level of people, mid to senior level people,
And some of the
driving and
names are
making this
not,
thing happen.
some of the names which are not included. For example, I mentioned Dr. Shraman Jha. There's another person called Ms. Gayatri Subramaniam, who was in IICA for all the years when CSR was evolving. Then the only student of Professor C.K. Pralad, the name in strategic management called Professor uh,
Ranjan Das.
Das, Ranjan Das from IIM Calcutta. So these are the other ones which are not mentioned in the list, but we plan to, and they've agreed to come and share their experiences. And just Google these names, you will realize what kind of experience they bring on the table.
Absolutely perfect. And thank you so much for the insights and, giving us some hope that, this is going to be very beautiful journey. Another aspect, I just wanted to ask, when such programs, I want to just take up there Shivani and certainly from the group, right, who are leading it. So when you are having this program, so this is the first time you're getting it done with integration of DTU. Previously, you did with other institutions as well.
I've been doing it for ages, but with DTU surely for the first time. And so is Professor Amit Mukherjee. You may not know. I know Professor Amit Mukherjee. When I was in a company called Hughes, he was with MDI, and the fight started in 1997 and continues even today.
Uh-huh. Okay.
It's a long
Thank you for
journey. I think
clarification.
Dr. Neeraj started the whole online education game, the industry, I guess.
Excellent.
Right
So,
from IIM
so but
Calcutta
okay,
to
last point.
Code, is it?
Okay, the last point. I'm sorry, I'm taking a little while. I mean, see, I just want to understand while we are running this program, Neeraj sir, you are saying that yeah, and Amit sir, you are saying that you are already the part of this journey from longer. 1997 means lots, right? So, I was back in, I think, in school at that time. So, an important aspect, right? I recently, I mean, maybe yesterday only, I read one LinkedIn post wherein IIT Madras, they have done a carbon capture, one project there, and they have established, they have already placed it back, those all setups into their campus. When we are running this program from longer, we are actually advocating for this sustainability journey. 2030 is a goal from SDG side for all 17 goals plus this ESG reportation, everything. Now my ask is, if we are having a good bunch of people over here, not a huge big team, but yes, whosoever we are going to join across, why don't we take up a project which we can establish back in DTU itself, to showcase back that what we learned, what we established, and to be sanctioned to Government of India or any ministry, wherein we can actually put it in practical implementation. Why don't we take that way? Why only because learning, going and getting back into our daily routines would be something fine. getting a certificate back, Shivani, thank you. But at the same time, what we are gonna give back to the society out of it when we are coming together as a professionals? Why don't we do take up one, you're saying capstone project? Fine. But why don't we take it as a one motive, one aim to establish something back in DTU campus?
Always open, that will be wonderful. And in fact, the whole idea of a project, Dr. Neeraj,
Whatever
is
little
to
we can do to make it
instill that
happen,
learning.
consider it done.
We yeah, DTU would be, I think, already embarked on a journey.
Yeah,
Energy transition, environmental transition. Uh, there's a whole environmental engineering department there. So the East Campus,
So I
when
sorry to
a
cut
whole
over
thing is
here. I
coming up,
mean, yeah, sorry to cut,
yes,
but clarification. One is learning. The campus is actually bringing up or nurturing the champions with respect to the education, but I'm talking about something setting back, giving back to the nature with respect
absolutely,
to some project.
absolutely,
So that's what is
absolutely.
and I'm very near to, I'm actually very near to this DTU. That's what I said to Neeraj sir. And it would be, I'm residing very close, and I would love to do some, things over there for sure.
Himali,
Mali,
If I may
this is
add,
this is one of
yeah,
the programs only, but there are many other things that are happening at DTU. So once you settle down
Hmm.
with the program, we can explore all those. So we are
Hmm.
not saying that we will restrict you only to the program content. There's a lot of work happening. You'll be surprised to know. Therefore, when we
Hmm.
begin the journey, I mean, we invite you and everyone else to come up with such ideas, and let's try and do it together.
Hmm. Absolutely perfect. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Shreyasi, I'm sorry I had to cut you, but please go ahead.
that is okay. That is okay. Yes. I was just trying to say that, what Himali was mentioning is lovely, and probably she should take it up offline and meet you all at DTU and take it ahead. That would be a good way of handling it.
Sure.
And our session is also about to, it's already overshot the limit, and I would really want to encourage the others also to come up with any queries that they might have for this evening. So, anybody else who has any questions that they want to come up with, this is your last chance, I would say. Our faculty members have been kind enough to provide time to us today evening, Saturday evening. We have the last couple of minutes left with us. So if you have any questions or queries that is on your mind, please come up and ask them. Unmute yourself, raise your hand, and just ask the question that you have. We will accordingly be closing the session in a couple of minutes. Anybody has any questions or queries, you can share it in the chat box as well. Alternatively, do unmute yourself and share the question that you have.
And if it comes up later, you can get in touch with Shivani. We will work with Shivani and get those answers for you.
Sure, sir. Sure. So please feel free to reach out to me as my number is already shared. I'm just posting it again in the chat. And my team will also reach out to each one of you individually and will share all the program details. If there are any further questions, we'll be happy to connect you with the esteemed faculty, Professor Neeraj Sharma, Professor Amit Mukherjee, and Professor Chaitanji Srivastav. We will be able to connect with you depending upon their availability as well. Thank you so much, Neeraj sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you. I
professors. Thank you for your time today evening. Professor Chaitanya Srivastav, Professor Amit Mukherjee, Professor Neeraj Sharma. And thank you to all the participants for joining in today. We will be in touch with you. If you have any questions, do reach out to us, reach out to Shivani. She would be more than happy to help you along. Thank you so much
Thank you,
for
everyone.
joining us this evening.
Thank you very much,
Thank you,
Team
everyone.
VC Now. Thank you, Shreyasi.
yes.
Thank you, Shivani, and everyone else. A wonderful session. We thoroughly enjoyed talking to each one of you. Look forward to joining the program and starting this journey and reaching newer heights sooner than later.
Thank you so much.